Hey everyone, this is an updated controller settings video for Assetto Corsa. You may have seen our previous video on a basic controller setting, but today we're going to go in depth on how to set up the perfect settings for you. Before we start, you can find setting templates that we're going to talk about on our website link below. You can just download them and put them in this folder here, and that will be in game and in Content Manager. Alright, let's get into it. I'm using a Xbox One controller. I'll be adjusting the settings within the Assetto Corsa Content Manager. I just find it a lot easier. It's pretty much the exact same whether you do it in the Content Manager or in game. The only thing that's different is that there will be a decimal point on the front of the settings in game. So for example, if it says 220% in Content Manager, it will say 2.2 in game. The first setting we have here is speed sensitivity. The higher this setting is, the less sensitive the car will be at high speeds while steering. So quick tracks, you don't want your steering to be super sensitive on straights and such. So use as much as possible. Steering speed is how quickly the wheel will turn, and steering gamma is the overall sensitivity of the steering. Steering filter acts as a damper and slows down the wheel return. So if you want to just make your steering a little bit less sensitive, you can turn this up, and then like when you let off the stick, the steering wheel will return quicker or slower based on the dampening that you've set here. Steering dead zone is how much the stick needs to move before working. So a lot of games have like a couple percent dead zone. It's just useful so that if there's any controller stick drift, it doesn't affect steering, or if you're resting your finger on the stick but not moving it, it's not as sensitive and won't mess up the steering during a race. Alright, let's get into it. This first setting that I've made is, I've called it the Forza Controller Settings. A lot of the other car games have very basic, soft controller settings that's useful for everyone, whether you're new or been racing for a while. So this is a very low sensitivity sort of controller. It's good for all cars. It's not going to be super competitive while racing, but it's just something nice and simple and easy to get into. And you can download these settings in the website below as well. I'll also put the previous video controller settings in the description. Those settings were pretty much the opposite of this. They were high sensitivity settings that took a long time to get used to, so that's why I'm also making this little update video to give you multiple options of what controller settings suit you. Alright, this next one is the high speed racing controller settings. For races that are at like Spa and high speed tracks, this will be ideal. So the speed sensitivity is up very high. The more speed you have in the car, the less sensitivity the controller is going to have. So this one here is pretty good for Spa. Could use some adjusting. You can maybe turn the speed sensitivity down a little bit just for a Rouge. It seems to need a bit more turn through there. But other than that, it's great for this track. That's the other thing you can also do. You could also set up different controller settings for different cars or different tracks to get really precise and quick track times as best as possible with the controller. Last but not least, we have the drift control settings. Now, I don't really drift at all in Assetto Corsa, to be honest. It is quite difficult with a controller, but I found that these settings seem to work as best as possible for me. So give this a go. Super low sensitivity, and it's got enough steering filter in it to like bring the wheel back when you're trying to counter steer. And it also probably depends a lot on the car that you try to drift with. I'm using the Toyota Supra drift car, but different cars may need different steering sensitivities and all that, so see how you go with that. Alright, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Link is in the description to download these settings, but feel free to watch this again and pause it if you want to just copy it from the video. Thanks for watching.